Tradition, 34 pennants, and the ultimate greatness personified by 23 world championships. In 1998, the Yankees are on a pace to become the winningest team in its franchise glorious history. A season that has been near perfect. However, it will be a season lost if this trophy does not return to the Bronx. We're in the Emerald City, Seattle, a weekend series between baseball's best team, the New York Yankees, and the struggling Seattle Mariners. And what a dream season indeed it has been for the Yanks, trying to become the first team ever to win 117 games or more in a year. They go for their 77th on August the 1st. And a pleasant good afternoon to you. Alongside Bob Brenly, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Baseball on Fox. And, Bobby, we call it a dream year. And with a trade of Randy Johnson out of Seattle last night, that season continues in a quirky way for the Yanks.
Well, probably to fulfill the dream the Yankees had, they would have gotten Randy Johnson. But the next best thing happened. Nobody else in the American League did. Randy Johnson ends up in Houston with the Astros in the National League. Yankees don't have to worry about him anymore this year. I'll tell you, a lot of disappointment here in Seattle because of the trade. Randy Johnson has been such a big part of this organization. If you believe the rumors, the Mariners could have gotten a lot more for Randy Johnson earlier in the season. They feel they sold out for some young talent, and that young talent doesn't always develop the way you think it will.
Headlines in the paper today. Who are these guys the Mariners are getting for Randy Johnson? We'll talk more about that shortly. You're watching Fox Sports, home of the '98 World Series. We'll send you to Chip Carey and Steve Lyons following this word from your local station.
Happy 40th, KTVU.
Chip and Psycho back with you in Los Angeles. Partner, let's run down the scores and highlights from action earlier today. Roger Maris' sons, Kevin and Richard, hanging out looking to catch a glimpse of Mark McGwire as he chases their dad's hallowed record. Didn't have a good day with the bat, but Eli Marrero did. Stevie doubles to right center, scoring. Willie Levine puts the Cardinals in front by a run. Tom Glavine cruising for Atlanta. He did all he could. He mesmerized Mark McGwire today.
Well, Maddox teased him last night with a couple inside pitches, then went away. They're staying away from him for the rest of the series.
And Javier Lopez with a clutch hit for the Braves ties the game 1-1. That game now is in the bottom of the 8th inning. Atlanta 1, Cardinals 1. Colorado and the Cubbies. Todd Helton, this kid deserves some serious Rookie of the Year consideration.
Yes, he does. Kerry Wood's gotten all the numbers. Travis Lee, some big numbers for the Diamondbacks, but he's right there with him.
Yeah, Travis Lee's hurt, and Wood has dominated both Helton and Lee. He probably is the odds-on choice. Sammy Sosa came close a couple of times, did not homer today, but the Cubs do have a 3-2 lead. Controversy a moment ago in Chicago. They thought they had a home run. They do not. It's 3-2 in the ninth. Rod Beck is on, trying to save his 15th consecutive game for the Cubs. Astros 2, Pirates 1. A bases-loaded walk decides this one for Houston in Three Rivers Stadium. Of course, the big story, the hullabaloo surrounding the trade of Randy Johnson to the Houston Astros of all teams.
Chip, what is going on up there in Seattle? They had a chance to get major league talent from both the Yankees and the Indians. We just listened to Tom and Bob talk about minor league talent that they got. I'm a former minor league player of the year. It doesn't always pan out.
That's why you're sitting right next to me.
Right.
But I'm glad you're here. All right, time to play baseball. Should be a great day of Fox Saturday Baseball's game of the week. Let's check out the Yankees, Mariners, or the Red Sox and the Angels.
The crowd here at the Seattle Kingdom, Jr. as well as Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa in pursuit of Roger Maris in the home run single season record. The MCI starting lineup for the best team in baseball this year. Before the end of the year, they might be considered the best of all time. Chuck Knobloch at second base, Derek Jeter the shortstop, Paul O'Neill in right. Bernie Williams, a free agent to be back from the disabled list and having a big-time year, now is qualified to lead the league in batting. Tino Martinez, a former Mariner at first. Tim Raines, a DH. Jorge Posada doing the catching with Chad Curtis in left. Scott Brocious having a solid year at third. And the man they're facing today, left-hander Jamie Moyer.
Get a look at Moyer's numbers on the season. You see the strikeouts to walks ratio almost 4-1. Has the ball in the strike zone consistently throughout the game. It's very important for him to get ahead of the Yankee hitters. He can go to that changeup, which is without a doubt his most devastating pitch. fastball's not overpowering, in the mid-80s, sometimes the upper 80s, but he has good location. That's that changeup I was talking about. He'll throw it in any count to any hitter. Mostly works the outside part of the plate. Right-handers this year have hit only .238 against Jamie Moyer, while left-handers have batted .280.
Defensively behind Moyer, and it has been a poor Seattle team defensively, with the exception by and large of Griffey in center field. You see the worst fielding percentage in the American League. Like to remind you, our broadcast is also available in Spanish, and you can take care of that by utilizing the SAP button on your television. So we're set to go. The New York Yankees, winners here last night, and thus far have played very well on this West Coast road trip, a trip that through the years has not been kind to the Yankees. Chuck Knobloch leads it off, and he fouls it out of play down the first base line. He's down a strike. Knobloch on again and off again this year, far below his career numbers. You see what he's done against Moyer in 20 at-bats. He had a hit last night, snapping an 0 for 15 stretch. Hammered down the left field line, foul. Well, Knobloch with Minnesota, a marvelous player. With the Yankees this season, still decent numbers.
Well, the 57 walks indicates he's getting on base, along with the base hits that he does have. 23 stolen bases, leads the team, and second only to Derek Jeter in runs scored. This really has been a team effort on the part of the Yankees. Nobody having a career year. Really nobody that they've been riding the coattails of. Everybody just contributes what they can on a daily basis.
Perfect pitch on the inside corner from Moyer. Knobloch didn't think so. He says something to Tim Wilkie, the home plate umpire.
Well, everybody knows Jamie Moyer's history of being an off-speed pitcher, and occasionally he can sneak that 85-mile-an-hour past you on the inside corner, and that's exactly what happened to Knobloch. Probably anticipating some pitches out of the strike zone, that change up in the dirt, and Moyer able to sneak the fastball by him.
So now it'll be the amazing Derek Jeter, hitting at .318, 13 home runs, 51 batted in. He has 21 stolen bases. And quickly down a strike.
Knobloch after the first pitch of the ball game. Jeter after the first pitch that he sees. They know how important it is for Jamie Moyer to get ahead in the count, so they're coming off that on-deck circle, swinging those bats.
Jeter on the disabled list back in the month of June. Was named to his first American League All-Star team by manager Mike Hargrove. Was on the DL with a strained abdominal muscle. He did that checking a swing on a game in early June against Tampa Bay. Jeter among the great young players in all of baseball. 1-2.
Well, a pretty fair shortstops in this ball game today. The future of the position, the present time of the position.
Throw in Nomar Garciaparra with Boston, and you get arguments from just about everybody over which one of the three you would take on your team. And viable arguments, of course, for all three. You can't lose with all three.
I'll take the third pick. Doesn't matter. Rodriguez is going to give you some more power, obviously. Jeter perhaps a little more speed, a little more solid defensively. Garciaparra looks to me to be the total package. So, like you said, you can't go wrong with any of those guys.
3-2 now to Derek Jeter. Waiting on deck, Paul O'Neill. Just underway in the Yankee first inning. Moyer shaking off John Marzano a couple of times, and now the payoff in the dirt, and Jeter aboard. And again, 21 stolen bases this season for Jeter. He's only been thrown out 5 times.
That was the story of the Yankees early season this year. Getting very little power, but they were stealing bases, something Yankee teams have not been known for in the past. You can see Jeter and Knobloch both over 20 on the season, the first pair of middle infielders in Yankee history to go over the 20 mark in stolen bases.
Well, the Yankees as a club under Joe Torre, 119 steals, second only in the major leagues behind Toronto's 121. And they've gone right by their season total of 99 in 1997. They have 2 more home runs than they do stolen bases. And since 1920, only 3 Yankee teams have finished a year with more stolen bases than home runs. And the only one that ever did anything in terms of winning was the 76 club, which went on to win the pennant, but were swept in the World Series by Cincinnati.
I mentioned that the Yankees have really been doing it as a team. They didn't have a lot of power early in the season. They were spraying the ball around, but the stolen bases allowed them to get runners into scoring position. And guys were hitting for high averages, so they were scoring a lot of runs. The home runs, however, have started to come.
1-1 to Paul O'Neill. 2 balls and a strike.
Nobody really having a career year as far as home runs, but when you can get 8 guys on your roster in double figures, and Chad Curtis will probably join that group before the end of the season, 9 players in double figures in home runs, you're going to beat a lot of people.
Jeter, a good lead held by Segui, and he'll draw a throw.
Now that's one way you can exploit Jamie Moyer. Since last September, opponents have stolen 15 bases in their last 16 attempts. It's kind of unusual for a left-handed pitcher. Apparently they're able to read his move very quickly, and that, along with the fact that he throws so many off-speed pitches, really gives the runner an advantage.
2-1 to O'Neill. He hits it hard, but right at Jay Buhner, and the former Yankee tucks it away. 2 down in the inning. O'Neill this season signed a contract extension to stay with the Yankees. Boy, has he had a marvelous run at it since leaving Cincinnati in the Roberto Kelly trade. But Bernie Williams, a different story entirely. Williams, a free agent at the end of the year, and apparently not a lot of discussion going on about extending that contract for Williams. Boy, if he walks out the door, there are going to be some upset people in the Bronx.
There's upset people in the Bronx anyway, but that would really push him over the edge. Yeah, Bernie Williams has said, along with his agent, they don't want to talk about contract extensions. They're going to file for free agency, and the Yankees will have to take their place in line with the rest of the teams in Major League Baseball.
Well, Bernie Williams was on the disabled list, and since he has come back, he now is able to qualify for all of these categories. You see, leading the league now in batting, first as well in on-base percentage, and 5th in slugging percentage. One on, 2 out. Well, they had Jeter leading that time, but he was able to get back.
Well, many times a base stealer against a left-handed pitcher, they will use what they call a one-way lead. They'll get a huge lead off of first base, and their first movement, regardless of what the pitcher does, is back to the bag, always going back to the base. And then what you do off of that is you shorten up your lead a couple steps and you go on first move. It's a way you get a good jump against a left-handed pitcher. You take the big lead, he throws over, you're going back to the bag. Now suddenly he looks over there and sees you've shortened your lead by a step or 2, perhaps puts the runner out of his mind, concentrates on the hitter, and the runner takes off on the very first movement by the pitcher.
Jeter drew a 1-out walk here in the first inning. Is still there with 2 away. And a little flare that'll fall into right center field. A base hit for Williams. Jr. over to cut it off. Jeter on his way to third. He'll be held by Willie Randolph. The ball gets away from Cora, and here comes Jeter, and he is out at home. Boy, and the Yankee bench has erupted. They thought Jeter had gotten the hand in before Marzano made the tag. Boy, aggressive base running by Jeter. Did he get there? First hand, he looks safe. We'll be back in a moment.
You got to go in the other way, though. You can move them that way. You can't move them with your hands. You wind up getting hurt that way.
Now, Joe Torre is talking about the head-first slide at home. Watch Derek Jeter's left hand go hard into the left foot of John Marzano, and it appears that he got his hand on the plate before Marzano was able to make the tag up high on the back. Heads-up play by David Segui to back up that throw into the infield. It got away from Joey Cora. Marzano gets the foot out there to block the plate, but Jeter's right hand appeared to get on the plate before Marzano was able to apply the tag. You saw the hand on the base as the tag came up high on the back. We're going to get a look at it full speed right here. Jeter slows down, stops, sees the ball rolling in the infield. Well, Joe Torre's absolutely right. That's a dangerous play to go in head first to home plate. Catcher's got that equipment on. He's going to try to do everything he can to prohibit you from getting in there. And by sliding feet first, it gives you a little momentum. The strongest part of your body, your legs, are leading the play, and perhaps you can blast that catcher's block leg out of the way. But going in head first with the hands, very easy to get injured, very tough to push that catcher off the plate.
Well, he looks safe.
You're right.
Joey Cora to lead things off, and he looks at a strike. David Wells on the mound, a 12-game winner for the Yankees this season. And a very solid 3.6 ERA, making his 20th start of the year. He has completed 2 games, and of course, one of them absolutely perfect. Into left field, and that'll fall for a base hit. MCI Mariners lineup under manager Lou Piniella. Cora at second, Alex Rodriguez at shortstop, and Junior in center field, the 41 home runs. Edgar Martinez the DH, Segui is at first, Muner in right, Davis at third, Marzano does the catching, and Emerald in the outfield.
You get a look at the numbers on David Wells. Once again, a very high strikeout to walk ratio, about the same as Jamie Moyer. Something that has been a pleasant surprise for David Wells. Very much the erratic pitcher early in his career, has harnessed some of that great stuff and has developed into one of the best left-handers in baseball.
Well, Wells threw the 14th perfect game in Major League regular season history on the 17th of May against Minnesota. It was the 8th perfect game in the American League. And Wells a pitch on the way, and Rodriguez a drive in a deep right center field, and that ball is gone. It may be a down year for the Mariners, but Rodriguez on pace to have the greatest single season by a shortstop in the history of baseball. His 33rd home run.
Well, he's already gone 30-30. More than 30 home runs, more than 30 stolen bases. There's a lot of season left. 40-40 is well within reason. And if he gets red hot, 50-50 may not be out of the question.
Well, speaking of 50, you have to believe Junior will be there in the not too distant future. 41 this year. 2 hopper at Knobloch, and that's the first out of the inning.
The one thing that makes Alex Rodriguez so dangerous as a hitter is the fact that he's got power anywhere in the ballpark. It's a pitch up and out over the plate. Just gets the head of the bat on it, doesn't try to pull it. Just drive the ball hard somewhere in the ballpark. You can see Posada set up on the inside corner. Wells let the pitch stray out over the plate. Alex Rodriguez going deep to right field.
Edgar Martinez shows a bunt and looks at a pitch down low for a ball.
Trying to get a reaction from Scott Brocious at third base, perhaps pull him in a couple steps. Brocious just said, forget it. I'm not moving. If you want to bunt, go ahead.
2-0.
There you see Scott Brocious playing probably 15 to 18 feet behind the baseline at third. He'll let Edgar Martinez bunt whenever he wants to.
2 balls and a strike. Talking about A-Rod, in case you're curious, a single season major league record for home runs by a shortstop, 47, hit by Ernie Banks in the 1958 season. The American League record is 40, like Rico Petrocelli in 1969 with Boston. He'll race right by that. Rodriguez will not turn 23 years old until Monday. Unbelievable. You like his future a little bit with those looks and his talent?
Oh, my.
How's he going?
He's doing pretty good.
Brocious The Olay play, backhanded style, and fires over to Martinez to retire Martinez. 2 away.
Brocious, as we mentioned, playing back on Edgar Martinez, gets a little chopper down the third base line. Brocious plays a nice backhand off the carpet. You can afford to play that ball that way on AstroTurf because you know you're going to get a very true hop. On a grass field, Brocious would be forced to surround that ball, play it in front, and it would have been a much closer play at first base.
David Segui looks at ball 1 low and away. Segui extremely vocal about the Randy Johnson trade last night following the game. In fact, well, it was downright rude. A profanity laced conversation on television and with the local newspaper people. Just out of hand.
But you get the feeling that he was expressing the sentiments of a lot of his teammates, and it goes without saying the majority of the fans here in the Pacific Northwest.
Ken Griffey Jr. had no comment whatsoever after the game last night. Some of you may have seen perhaps a replay of Jr. just walking out of the Mariners clubhouse after it was announced that Randy Johnson had been traded to the Houston Astros for 2 minor leaguers and a player that has to be a minor leaguer. It'll be named later. How do you feel today, Bobby, if you're on this Mariner team? Have they thrown in the towel for this year and maybe even next?
Well, that's the impression that the players, I'm sure, had as they came in to put on their uniforms today.
Broken bat, base hit into right center field by Segui. So this 2-run first inning continues.
David Segui has been a great addition to this Mariners ball club, not only offensively, but gives him a strong glove over at first base and a heads-up player. You see Joey Cora misplay the throw back into the infield, and there's David Segui right there backing up the play. A good strong throw to Marzano, and they get the benefit of the call at home plate. But David Segui has injected a lot of enthusiasm into this Mariners ball club. He has a lot of fun playing the game, a very fiery character, as you mentioned. Perhaps a little overboard last night in his comments concerning the trade, but there's no questioning his desire to win.
Jay Buhner steps in. Been an injury-plagued season for Buhner. He's down a strike.
And you may notice Buhner wearing what appears to be white shoes. Those aren't even cleats. Those are just a pair of regular old sneakers. Playing here on the turf. No need to wear cleats in the outfield. Sometimes you do lose footing in that batter's box, however. Very comfortable to run around on that artificial turf in those running shoes, but you know, most batters like to get in that box and dig and find a little toe hold. He has to use a hole that somebody else has already dug.
Oh, 2 to Buhner. He went around, and that will end the inning. But Alex Rodriguez came in with 32. Now give him 33. And at the end of 1, Seattle holds a 2-0 lead. Joe Torre and the Yankees trailing Seattle 2-0 after a 2-run first inning home run by Alex Rodriguez. Tino Martinez, Tim Raines, and Jorge Posada due up in the New York second inning. Tino hit 44 home runs a season ago. He just got his 15th of this year on the road trip Wednesday night. That was his first home run in 22 games, spanning 86 trips to the plate. But he is knocking in runs. 81 RBIs. You can't argue with that. 2-0.
Well, I'm sure Tino Martinez would like to find his power stroke again, but in the meantime, as you said, he's still getting his base hits, going with pitches. With runners in scoring position, he's doing a lot of damage.
3-0. Talked about the 44 last season by Tino Martinez, the most since Maris in 61. Boy, how about the names on that list? Reggie, Winfield, and Nettles. 3-1.
Not a bad group.
Well, a very different feeling here in the Kingdome today, certainly knowing that Randy Johnson is no longer part of this Seattle Mariner team. Very strange here last night. Yeah, there was a game going on. A lot of people were here to watch it, but Lou Piniella giving Randy Johnson the news in the dugout that he had been traded to Houston.
Yeah, that's something. And you see Randy leaving the ballpark, had no comment for the assembled media as he gets in his car and heads away from the Kingdome for the last time. Something every player, in an odd kind of way, you look forward to it, and in an odd kind of way you dread it. That tap on the shoulders. Skipper wants to see you. And then you go in the office, or in this case in the tunnel.
There's a base hit into right field by Raines. Martinez making the turn and comes on to third base. So the Yankees runners on the corners, nobody out.
Go back into the manager's office, and there you see the general manager and the traveling secretary. That's an immediate tip-off that this is not just something to do with team rules.
But I asked you a short while ago, Bobby, and your thoughts about what does it say to the rest of the team here in the Mariners? Because this guy has been every bit a part of this franchise turnaround as Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez, Jay Buhner, right on down the line.
Well, Woody Woodward, the general manager of the Mariners, made some comments at the time of the trade last night that he felt that they still had enough talent here in Seattle to contend for the wild card, which if you're a player on that team, it has to make you laugh. You take your best starter out of the rotation. You don't replace him at the major league level with anybody. You get some prospects that, you know, are probably going to be in the minor leagues for at least a year, maybe 2 years before they make any kind of contribution. How did that strengthen our team for the stretch run? By taking our best pitcher off the roster.
Posada, a pair of home runs here in the series opener last night, and there's a base hit into left field. Scoring Martinez, Raines on to second. Posada, his 39th run batted in, and the lead sliced in half at 2-1.
So Posada had a big night last night. As you mentioned, a couple of bombs last night. He hit one to left field off of Jeff Facero. Hey, this guy's a good-looking catcher. Joe Girardi, the former regular catcher for the Yankees, as you see the home run to right field, said that Posada's going to be an all-star by the year 2000. It may happen before that. Posada, a very solid offensive player, improving week to week behind the plate. And you figure the more experience he gets working with this veteran pitching staff, the better catcher he will be in the future.
There you get a look at Joe Girardi. Well, he has been a solid contributor to the Yankees since coming over from Colorado. 2 on, 1 in, and nobody out for Chad Curtis. Shows bunt, misses down low.
I'll tell you, a 2-0 lead against the Yankees this year is nothing. I mean, this is a ball club. They've won 76 games. They're almost 50 games over 500. They're used to coming from behind. They're used to winning ball games in a variety of different ways.
Runners at first and second, and the 1-0 to Curtis is in there, a strike. We had a chance to catch up with Posada yesterday before the game, and we asked him a great deal about what Joe Girardi has done for him, being a young player coming to the major leagues. And we'll let you listen in on what he had to say about it. Girardi has always, as Bobby mentioned, been a huge supporter, even knowing Posada would take away his own playing time. Posada the runner at first. Segui plays behind him. And at second, it's Tim Raines. Runners go. And it's in the air to right center field. A long run for Jay Buhner. He'll get there, and now a scramble to get back. This will be a double play. They get it at first base.
Oh, what a great decoy at second base by Joey Cora. Tim Raines, the runner going from second to third, got help from his third base coach Willie Randolph, letting him know the ball was in the air. However, Posada at first base, running with his head down, has no idea where the ball is. You could see Cora decoying the double play. Posada's got to go back and touch second base and then try to get all the way back to first. Absolutely no chance. Base running blunder right there by Posada. You got to run with your head up on a hit and run. See where that ball is put into play.
Tying run at second base, 2 away in the inning, and here's Brocious, who's driven in big runs for the Yankees all season long. It's in there, a strike. What a turnaround for Brocious. A year ago today, Brocious was hitting 200 and was on his way to the disabled list with a knee injury. But this year, 61 runs batted in.
Yeah, one more look at that play at second base. You'll see Posada comes into the frame here, and Joey Cora is going to be decoying a double play as if the ground ball's been hit to the left side of the field. It wasn't until that point that Posada realized the ball was out in the outfield. Thought it was going to get over Buhner's head in right, so he continued on. Easy double play for the Mariners. Man, I'm telling you, don't trust those middle infielders.
Oh, no.
They're a bunch of sneaky guys out there. The only friends you have as a base runner are your base coaches. Those guys in the other color uniform aren't going to help you very much.
Week 1 hopper at Rodriguez, and the Yankee threat is over. 1 run, 2 hits, a man left after an inning and a half here at the Seattle Kingdome. Mariners in front, 2-1.
Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, brought to you by the United States Army Reserve. Be all you can be. By Lipton Brisk Iced Tea. Now that's brisk. By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by MCI 5-cent Sundays. Pay the least on the day you call the most.
Jorge Posada should know better than to be decoyed by a middle infielder. Catchers are without a doubt the smartest players on the field, but
oh, please. We hear it every week. I'm getting worn out. Russ Davis to lead things off, and he takes a pitch down low from David Wells.
well, maybe Posada was trying to decoy Joey Cora
That might have been it.
into thinking it really was a ground ball. You never know.
Two and 0 to Davis, who has had a tough year. 28 errors this season for Russ Davis. Former New York Yankee farmhand. Came over in the deal for Tino Martinez. Into right, and O'Neill shy of the track, 1 away. Davis recently moved from third base to the outfield, but is back in at third base again, temporarily anyhow.
Well, if you make an error at third base, you do have somebody behind you to pick up the ball and hopefully stop that runner from circling the bases. But when you make errors in left field, the guys end up on third base a lot.
Catcher John Marzano in there for the injured Dan Wilson. And that's a big piece of the Mariners puzzle missing. Wilson, a solid player.
Mariners also picked up Joe Oliver, former Red, former Tiger catcher. Try to keep the Mariners catching core in there until Dan Wilson can return. He's on the fast track of his rehabilitation.
Off the end of the bat into short center. And the 97 Gold Glove winner Bernie Williams has it. 2 up, 2 down against Wells in the second inning. Like to remind you tonight on FX, baseball Saturday night. Real good series going on between the Dodgers and the Mets. That one at Shea. And San Diego, Montreal. It gets underway at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Strike 1 to Amaral, who's in left field. Well, the Mets making a number of moves yesterday, acquiring Willie Blair and George Fabregas from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bernard Gilkey sent to the Diamondbacks in that trade, and then New York acquired Tony Phillips from the Toronto Blue Jays.
I think Phillips is going to help that ball club. I mean, regardless of what's happened off the field in his past, He's a guy that can light a fire under a team. That's been his reputation throughout his career, almost to a fault. He's a fiery player. And that Mets team from time to time seems to be too talented to be going through the motions the way they have been. And Phillips is the kind of guy that can come in there, stick him at the top of that batting order, let him get on base, make some things happen, and definitely not going to be boring in the clubhouse with Tony Phillips around.
No.
He's one of those guys that's not afraid to get on his teammates if he feels that they're not giving maximum effort.
In the air to left center field, Curtis waves off Williams, and Wells breezes through the second in perfect fashion. We move to the third. Seattle in front, 2-1.
Expanded South Bay coverage on KTVU News. The Bay Area is watching.
The top half of the third inning against Jamie Moyer, trailing Seattle by a run. 2-1 ball game, and the top of the order due up. Knobloch called out on strikes, leading off the game. 1-1. Knobloch will be followed by Jeter and O'Neill. The Yankees not making any sort of trade, and who can blame them? At the trading deadline, midnight Eastern time last night, a great deal of discussion, of course, as to whether or not they would be in the Randy Johnson derby. A lot of stories were floating around that perhaps Hideki Irabu would be on his way to the Mariners. Ramiro Mendoza out of the bullpen, his name also came up, along with Homer Bush and some very talented young players. Chopper to Rodriguez, and he will throw out Knobloch. But you have to believe, Bob, and obviously a lot of people in Seattle are extremely upset about the players the Mariners got in return for Johnson. But in our discussion with Lou Piniella earlier today, maybe the lesson that should be learned is the Mariners elected not to trade Johnson when they had a very good offer on the table back in May from the Dodgers. And that might have been the best offer out there as late as 9 o'clock Pacific time last night.
I think the Mariners really felt that they had a hot commodity that was going to be in huge demand as the trading deadline approached. You know, you hear so many rumors of guys that were going to be traded for Randy Johnson, and we won't ever know for sure exactly if any of those rumors were true. And I think, you know, perhaps the fans here in Seattle and the players on the Mariners club as well probably believed some of those rumors. And when suddenly Randy Johnson is traded, everybody's expecting major league pitchers, major league players, along with some prospects. And when no major league players came from Houston to Seattle, a huge disappointment. I think the fans here are still in a state of shock today because they didn't get any major league help for the remainder of the season. And as we said earlier, that sends a signal to the fans and to the players as well that we're not going to win this year. We're going to start getting younger, building for the future. Take some prospects from the Houston Astros, guys that have a very high top end. They're projected to be very good players in the future.
And one of the reasons some of you at home may be saying, well, why won't we know exactly what players or what trade offers could have been out there as it goes to 3-1 on Jeter? Very simple. If the Cleveland Indians made an offer, for example, and use a tribe just for the sake of argument, they're not going to go around and tell the players on their team that they're hoping can go on to another World Series, hey, yeah, we did have you traded away. 3-2 to Jeter.
But once again, if you heard the rumors and you believe the rumors, I mean, there were names like Dave Burba and Brian Giles from the Indians were thrown around. You mentioned the names in the Dodger trade, Ismael Valdez, Wilton Guerrero, plus some prospects. And when suddenly you look up and you got yourself a couple of minor leaguers and a minor league player to be named later, you say, hey, wait a minute, what the heck happened to the help we were going to get this year?
That ball smoked into left field, a base hit for Jeter. He's aboard for the second time in a game. Well, we asked Joe Torre his thoughts about the trade of Randy Johnson.
Sure. You know, we were talking to Seattle about the possibility. But again, sometimes the price got a little high because you don't know. And the thing is, the pig in the poke is you don't know what you're paying for Randy Johnson, or are you renting him? Because he's got the, you know, potential to be a free agent. And when you start giving up players for the use of 2 months, then you have to question yourself.
Randy Johnson, a free agent at the end of the year, and that's what Torrey's talking about. I mean, would you trade away some of your future to have Johnson for a couple of months? Can you sign him long term? That would certainly make the deal a little sweeter.
I'd be surprised if the Astros were able to sign Randy Johnson after this season. I think this is a perfect hired gun situation. They needed one more legitimate starting pitcher to throw in that rotation ahead of Shane Reynolds and Sean Bergman. A guy that demands respect when he takes the mound, a guy that's pitching in a new league. I mean, everybody knows Randy Johnson, but until you've actually climbed in that batter's box and faced that big 6'10" monster, that's a whole new story for National League hitters. So I think the Astros made a very good move, but yet I don't think they're going to sign him back next year.
Well, it will be interesting to see where Johnson winds up. He is asking for Greg Maddux-like money, and some believe Johnson, with a history of back trouble, well into his mid-30s, wanted a contract that would have taken him to his 40th birthday.
Well, I think a lot of it hinges on Randy Johnson himself, the kind of shape that he can get himself into this winter. I mean, if he's going into the offseason as a free agent, you got to believe the frenzy's going to start all over again once the season's over. Where's he going to end up next year? The Yankees will be right back in that bidding, you have to believe, among other teams.
Into short right field, Cora calls off Buhner and tucks it in the leather for the second out of the inning. Jeter remains at first base. And of course, if you're a Yankee fan, maybe more than any other message that could be sent, Bobby, you've got Bernie Williams as a free agent. I mean, he is the main man the Yankees have to consider signing or not bringing back. And if all of a sudden you give Johnson an extension in the neighborhood of 3 years, $30 million, as was reported, and you let Bernie Williams, who was born and raised in your system, so to speak, walk away, what's that tell the Yankee fan?
Well, I don't know exactly what kind of message that would send, but it would certainly stir it up. I mean, last year or 2 years ago when Hideki Arabu signed the big contract, David Wells was very vocal, saying, what the heck, we're giving this guy the money. We've got players here on our own roster that deserve more money than they're making, and we're giving money to an unknown quantity, Hideki Arabu. So you can imagine what would happen if Randy Johnson, or any other free agent for that matter, signed a big contract and the Yankees let Bernie Williams walk. Whoa. You think they're upset in the Bronx now?
Well, like you said, it doesn't take much to get him upset in the Bronx. 0-1 to Bernie Williams with Derek Jeter at first. And Moyer misses away. A ball, a strike. Bernie Williams, so marvelously talented and one of the classiest players in professional sports, not just the game of baseball. At Rodriguez, he'll go the short way, and that's at the Yankee third. A hit, a man left. Junior will bat when the Mariners step up there in the third, leading by a run.
Back as Brett Favre and the NFC champion Packers host the Raiders. It's a Fox NFL special, Sunday, August 16th.
We're back at the Kingdome in Seattle. Ah, yes, finally getting his hands on the goods.
Oh, yes, sir. A little popcorn and baseball. He's checking out all the concessionaires coming down the stand, see if there's something else he might like better. When I'm done with this popcorn, I'm going to want something else to eat.
Well, you know that for sure. Top of the order against Wells.
Popcorn is an appetizer at the ballpark.
Well, then what comes next?
Well, the World's Fair. I mean, it just depends on who comes down the aisle first. A hot dog or some pizza, pretzels, whatever. Like a 7-course meal.
Capped off, of course, by, well, nachos.
Nachos are good. That's kind of a middle course food, a little heavier.
Cotton candy, the tip-off, right?
That's dessert.
In there, a strike to Cora, who singled and scored on the Rodriguez home run in the first inning.
That was unusual against David Wells. He's been very tough in the first inning. His last 26 starts, he had only allowed 3 first-inning runs.
Up through the middle, and Cora, his second hit in as many trips. You know, we were talking about the great young shortstops in baseball, and we had a chance to catch up and talk about the competition.
You know, I'm always diving, trying to get him. He's diving, trying to get my hits. So, you know, we're good friends off the field, but on the field, we want to beat each other. You know, we're competitors. So, you know, as long as we win, you know, that's I have the bragging rights.
It's all about bragging rights. I tell you, players make a real good living in the major leagues, but more often than not, it comes down to bragging rights. The ability to see that guy out there behind the batting cage and know that you've had a better day or a better week or a better season than he's had.
And there's strike 2, Rodriguez. There you see Rodriguez and where he stands in the various categories in the American League. If Seattle was having a better year, it might be a neck-and-neck race between Rodriguez and Griffey as to who would be the American League's most valuable player. I mean, if they were in contention. Right now, you'd have to think Juan Gonzalez. There are others.
It's a tough call in the American League. It's a tough call in the National League as well. A lot of different ways you could go, and probably wouldn't be wrong no matter what player you picked.
Well, I just cannot get over the fact that Alex Rodriguez, it already seems like he's been around forever, and yet he just turned 23. One and one to the Seattle shortstop. Cora has 9 stolen bases, not running here, and the breaking ball down and in, 2 balls and a strike.
Alex Rodriguez at the plate, as a pitcher's getting his sign, going into his stretch position, before he delivers the ball, his eyes are always moving. He's checking out the middle infielder. Sometimes a middle infielder will move before the pitch is delivered, depending on whether it's a fastball or an off-speed pitch. I'm not sure exactly if that's what Alex Rodriguez is doing, trying to read the infield and guess along with them, but he checks the shortstop, he checks the second baseman, and then he locks in on the pitcher.
And for a young player, Bobby, that certainly does stand out, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, and especially being a middle infielder, Alex Rodriguez knows that with certain pitchers on the mound, a guy like Jamie Moyer that throws a lot of change-ups, you're looking right in at the catcher signs. You see the signal for a change-up. You may shift a half a step or a step further into the hole to protect against that batter pulling the ball. Alex Rodriguez, being a middle infielder, knows that he does that, so he's trying to pick it up from the opposing team.
Dangerous pitch here for Wells. 3-1 is grounded foul. Rodriguez checking that bat to find out whether or not he broke it. Had a strange sound to it.
Now keep an eye on Alex Rodriguez's eyes. He's just taking a few waggles, checks the shortstop right there, seeing if that guy shifted whatsoever. The fastball on the inside part of the plate and hooks it foul down the third base line.
Well, you called it ahead of time, Professor Brennan.
There he is again.
Caught those eyes looking out at Derek Jeter, his buddy. Runner goes, and it's ball 4 up and in. We welcome those of you watching Boston and Anaheim. The chase for the all-time single-season home run record. Just one of the players on the great stage, Ken Griffey Jr. He grounded to second base his only time up today. He has 41 home runs this season. Trailing only in the major leagues, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, the Cubs. Both have played already today and neither hit a home run. Cora at second base, Alex Rodriguez at first. And Junior fouls it back into the seats. Bob Brenly, in this home run race, who do you like? Handicap him.
It's a tough call. I'll tell you, Junior playing here in the Kingdome, the short porch in right field certainly works to his advantage. Sammy Sosa involved in the wild card race. Every game means something. He's hitting balls to all parts of the ballpark, not strictly a pull hitter anymore. And when the wind blows out at Wrigley, you have to figure that works in his advantage. But Greg Vaughn is having a great year and forgotten about.
Junior again fouls it off to the third base side.
McGuire's a threat to hit a home run from the on-deck circle.
That's when he gets in scoring position.
It's just fun to watch. I don't know if you can really handicap it. You got to like all their chances. I mean, every one of them has a legitimate shot if they stay healthy, if teams continue to pitch to them.
Seattle a 2-1 lead here in the bottom half of the third inning on a 2-run home run by Alex Rodriguez in the opening frame against Wells. First 2 on in the Mariner third. And the 0-2 to Junior. Runners go. And it's grounded foul. Well, not a lot of joy here in Seattle as of about 9:30 last night. They're drinking an extra cup of coffee in a city that certainly can't drink enough. Trying to wash away the hangover of Randy Johnson being traded away for 3 minor league players to the Houston Astros last night. Nothing in 2 to Junior, and Wells bluffs to throw to second.
We've done a lot of games here in the last couple of years, Tom, and always a very vocal crowd, very into the game from the first pitch, but really get the feeling these fans are a little bit in shock today. They anticipated a lot more in return for the big unit. Guy that's been a major part of this organization for years.
0-2 again. Got him swinging. So Wells gets Griffey on strikes. Forrest stays at second. Rodriguez at first.
David Wells can be very nasty on a left-handed hitter. He's got the good fastball. He's got the big overhand curveball, breaking ball, and from time to time he'll get down on the side of the ball. That was a good fastball down the heart of the plate. There's the slurvy-like breaking ball. Another good fastball inside, and then gets him to chase the slower, more overhand breaking ball that had a lot more downward movement.
So now Edgar Martinez, who bounced to third his first time up, looks at a breaking ball down and in. The inning started with a single by Corey. He went to second on a walk to Alex Rodriguez. But Junior strikes out, and now the 1-0 pitch to Edgar Martinez. 2-0.
You can see David Wells asking, is that low? That was a pretty good looking breaking ball right there. He felt he had dropped one in on Edgar Martinez. Didn't get the call, now forced to pitch out of a 2-0 hole. You don't like to be behind the count with Edgar Martinez at the plate. Wells still shaking his head.
Joe Torre not too pleased either. Yankees felt they were robbed of a call on a play at the plate in the first inning. Runners go, and it's taken. A throw down to third, and out at third is Cora. Second out of the inning. Terrific throw by Posada right on the bag.
Boy, an unusual call here. 2-0 count on one of the best hitters in the game, and the runners are started. Posada puts the ball, you can't get it any better than that, right on the bag. Joey Cora was trying to argue that the tag was not made, and we had this argument a couple of weeks ago about that phantom tag. If the ball's there and there's nothing out of the ordinary, no mishandling of the ball, that guy's out. The ball beats him, he's out.
We did argue about it.
Yes, we did. And I'm still right.
Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Yeah, if the catcher bobbles the ball or can't find the handle, or the throw is in the dirt or up high at third base, an umpire's more likely to make that infielder put a good tag on the runner. If that ball's there waiting for him like that, just, you know, get the glove in the vicinity, pull it out of the way, the guy's out.
And you're still right.
Yeah, as usual.
It's nothing new. 2-2 to Martinez, and a fastball up and in. The count goes full. Well, we asked Lou Piniella, with a trade of Johnson, what does that mean for the future of the Seattle Mariners moving into their brand new ballpark roughly around the All-Star break next season? A lot more revenue for this ball club, and he said they're still going to spend a lot of money, and they will bring in some free agents, but he thinks they need to get younger. 3-2 on the ground at Jeter, and the inning is over. Well, it doesn't get any better than this. You want it coming right into your den. Is the outer safe? There is no debate. Still a 1-run Seattle lead. Mariners and the Yankees at the end of 3. Seattle a 2-1 lead. Tino Martinez to begin things, and he looks at a strike from Jamie Moyer. Martinez, Seattle's first-round pick, 14th overall back in the June 1988 draft. And what a trade that has turned out to be for the New York Yankees. A man who took a lot of heat from the fans in the Bronx when put into a situation where he had to replace Don Mattingly. Mattingly, a wonderful player, but they're happy to have Martinez and figures to be there a long time to come.
Moyer able to get ahead of Martinez with 2 big breaking balls for called strikes, and then tried to throw the same pitch a little further out of the zone, hopefully to get Martinez to chase a bad pitch out of the strike zone.
Hit hard into deep right field, and Tino Martinez has hit his 16th of the year to tie the game.
Still a lot of cheers here at the Kingdome for Tino Martinez. People remember his days as a Mariner. There's also a lot of boos for people that don't really care. Right. All they know is the game's tied up, and a moment ago they were ahead by a run. That's a danger you run into when you're an off-speed pitcher and you try to sneak a fastball on the inside part of the plate to set up the next pitch. You have to miss in your favor, further inside off the plate. That time Moyer got too much of the plate. Tino Martinez made him pay. This is after 3 consecutive breaking balls. Tries to sneak that mid-80s fastball on the inside part of the plate, and not enough heat to get it by Tino Martinez.
On the ground, Rodriguez behind the bag throws out Raines for the first out in the Yankee fourth.
I mentioned that Martinez's power numbers are down somewhat this year, but get enough fastballs at the knees on the inside corner, he'll catch up in a hurry. Hit that ball into the upper deck. A little smile on his face there. One of the good guys in the game of baseball. Very quietly effective. He doesn't say a lot in that clubhouse, doesn't say a lot around that dugout bench, but you know his teammates respect him and his abilities and what he's gone through in his career. What you were mentioning about replacing Don Mattingly, that's tough duty.
And you get around the New York people and you talk to Joe Torre, you talk to his coaching staff, you talk to people in the media who follow the team, and the one word that continues to come up over and over and over again: chemistry with this Yankee ball club. If you go position by position, really against many of the other top teams around baseball, both American and National League, other teams, player for player, may be a better team than the New York Yankees. But as a group, you put 25 of them together, the way Joe Torre is running the ship, nobody is in the same league with the New York Yankees, at least through the first 103 games of the year.
Oh, the great start the Yankees had this year, not one player elected to the All-Star game. And as we mentioned earlier, nobody's really having a standout season. A lot of times when a team is running off victories the way the Yankees do, they're riding the coattails of one very hot player, and on a given day other members of the team contribute. That hasn't been the case with the Yankees. They've been just getting nice solid seasons out of everybody on their roster. You mentioned that word chemistry, such a hard thing to put your finger on, but you usually realize that the teams that win are the ones that have good chemistry.
Punch to the right side. Cora diving play from his knees. Throws and not in time. Posada able to leg out an infield hit.
Well, Lou Piniella cannot believe it. Jorge Posada gets out of the box quickly, runs very well. See the nice diving stop by Joey Cora, gets to his knees. Realizes at the last moment he's going to have to rush that throw more than he realized because of the hustle of Posada. Get another look at the end of the play. Bang, bang. Joe Brinkman, the crew chief, umpiring over at first base, said he beat it.
So now Chad Curtis. Posada, a base running blunder back in the second inning. With runners at first and second, they were off on the pitch. Curtis hit a fly ball into right center field, and Posada never looked up from the ground. He just kept running, and they doubled him off first base. Strike one. Well, the one area where the Yankees certainly have been the best in the American League, and there are other areas, but collectively as a group, they may not lead the league in hitting. They don't lead the league in runs scored, but they by far and away have the best pitching of any team in the American League, and it's not even close. They're the only team in the American League with an earned run average under 4, and theirs is 3.6.
You see the Yankees pitching staff and where they rank in the American League, first in all those categories.
Oh, 2, no. And again, just talking to people here yesterday, it was a carnival-like atmosphere. It always is when the Yankees, and when they are playing well, when they come into any American League city. But when you throw in the fact of all the Randy Johnson hoopla before the game last night, it felt like Game 7 of a World Series. All the people hanging around the batting cage as that one is into center field. A base hit by Curtis. Juggled momentarily by Junior, but everybody will stay put. You know, people would say, Bob, if you brought in Randy Johnson, if the Yankees would have got him, a lot of people feel all you need are 3 strong starters and a solid bullpen to win the World Series. Well, I mean, who gets bumped? Wells? Pettit? Cone? No.
That's a tough call. That's what makes a manager's job tough. Of course, they don't have to worry about it now, but had the Yankees picked up Randy Johnson, you get the feeling that one of those starting pitchers was headed to the bullpen and was not going to be happy about it. You know, some people have said that Joe Torre in the American League, much like Bobby Cox in the National League, a push-button manager. He's got such a good team, all he has to do is fill out the lineup card and sit back. That's not true. I think a lot of times with a good team, it makes your job even harder as a manager because you've got 25 guys you have to keep happy. You know, you've got starting pitchers that you want to try to protect early in the season, and so they're strong later in the season, but yet you don't want to overwork your bullpen. You want to keep all your players sharp, yet you want to put your best 9 out there every day. And when you have a team like the Yankees where everybody's contributing, everybody's having a solid season, it's tough to keep all the guys happy.
2 on, 1 out, and the 0-1 is tipped into the mid of Marzano. Brocious behind at 0-2. Brocious, the toughest, second toughest player to double up in the entire American League. But Moyer looking to change that. Misses high and in, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, Bobby, you're talking about that rotation. I mean, now that Bernie Williams is back, you really have to massage, and Torre has just done a remarkable job. You have Darryl Strawberry, you have Tim Raines, you have Chad Curtis. One of them has to play left, one of them has to be the DH, and the other one has to sit down and watch.
And to throw a real monkey wrench into it, Chili Davis will probably be back soon with the Yankees. He's started his rehabilitation assignment as Brocious goes down on strikes. I mean, you can only play 9 guys at one time. You see the Yankee leaders in home runs, RBIs, stolen bases, and average. Compared to the league leaders, you know, none of those numbers really jump out, other than Bernie Williams leading the league with the 347 average.
And we'll find out over the long haul whether or not he is indeed the batting champ. Williams missed a lot of time when he was on the disabled list. Back to the top of the order in Knobloch. Came out of his shoes swinging at that pitch and barely makes contact off the end of the bat.
Well, Knobloch going up there sitting on a first pitch fastball, and Moyer threw him a nasty changeup down low and away. Knobloch barely able to get a piece of that ball. That's the thing Moyer will do as the game progresses. He'll use that changeup in any count to any hitter. When he gets a good feel for it and he can keep that ball down and away from the right-handed hitters, that's a very devastating pitch.
2 on, 2 out. The 0-1 to Knobloch is on the inside corner, and again he does not like the call, just like the strike 3 pitch in the first inning.
That appeared to be a little slider from Jamie Moyer. Doesn't throw a lot of those pitches. Normally goes to the bigger sweeping breaking ball. I think his argument is that pitch is up high. Breaking ball that the catcher receives at belt level probably was high when it crossed home plate.
That one was inside.
Well, keep in mind, it's not where the catcher catches the ball. This may be very elementary for most baseball fans, but it doesn't really matter where the catcher catches the pitch. It's where it crosses the front of home plate. Well, a lot of times a catcher may receive a ball that looks like it's too close to the dirt to be a called strike, but when it crossed the plate, it was in the zone.
Still 1-2 to Knobloch. Tino Martinez homered to begin this Yankee fourth to tie the game at 2 apiece. For Martinez, his 16th home run, 82nd run batted in. Posada at second, Curtis on at first. And again the 1-2. Got him swinging to retire the side. But the Yankees tie the game on the long ball from Martinez, the former Mariner. We're knotted at 2.
Well, there's a before and after of Tino Martinez, his days as a Mariner. Looks like he's bulked up a little bit over here as a member of the Yankees, but doesn't look any older. New York appears to have agreed with him.
Oh, yes. Tino had his big breakthrough year with the Mariners in '95, then winning that big deal to the Yankees. Mariners bat bottom half of the 4th inning. That was a trade. Sent Nelson, Jeff Nelson, who's currently on the DL, Jim Messier, and Martinez to the Bronx for Sterling Hitchcock and Russ Davis. Hitchcock is now in San Diego, and Davis has kicked away 28. Who got the better end of that deal?
Well, that happens sometimes. Yeah, the game of baseball is relatively devoid of personality. I mean, you know, when you think back to the days of Mark the Bird Fidrich, Al Raboski, a lot of real characters in the game. And you don't see a lot of that anymore, but you'd have to agree that David Wells is a guy that he's got more than his share of, let's call it, character.
Yes. One-two pitch to David Segui, and Wells got him with an off-speed pitch. 3rd strikeout for Wells.
Just to give you an idea of David Wells and how he thinks, there he is with a Babe Ruth lookalike, a very good Babe Ruth lookalike at that.
And if you think that cap, it looks a little different than a newer Yankee cap, well, you're right. That cap was a cap of Babe Ruth in 1933. It's 7 3/8, and David Wells purchased it for $35,000 in Arlington, Texas. The guy wanted 50. David offered 30. The guy wanted 50. Said he'd take 40.
Heard the voice of Tim McCarver. He played the agent on that deal in the negotiations as Jay Buhner grounds out down to 3rd. 2 down in the inning.
Third baseman, number 18, Russ Davis.
2 down in the inning, and David Wells will now face Russ Davis.
I mean, you spend $35,000 for a Babe Ruth cap, and you wear it. Crying out loud. He bought Elvis Presley's Cadillac, and he's driving that to the ballpark every day.
Well, you know, you have become quite the collector of hats, if not for yourself, for your son, Michael Brennan. What's the most money, if any money at all, knowing you and your reputation, that you have ever paid for a cap?
Yeah, whatever the going rate is at your local sporting goods store. I mean, he's not really a memorabilia type collector. He just likes.
I didn't ask what he did. I asked what you did. What's the most money you ever paid for a hat, or have you ever paid for a hat?
I pay for everything. Anything that my family wears has been paid for, free and clear.
Really?
I'm not like some people I know.
We need documentation of that. I see your son every day at the ballpark in downtown Phoenix, and I don't think I've ever seen him wear anything that was paid for, by you anyway.
Oh, come on. Now, that was probably a giveaway cap right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's a freebie.
Maybe I had to pay for that pen or negotiate for it, whatever that pen is on that hat.
You know what's big right now? Well, I'll tell you in a moment.
Besides David Wells, as he has a 1-2-3 inning, we head for the 5th. Yankees and Mariners tied at 2.
Latest sports news and highlights following your home team games. Tune in to Fox Sports News, part of the Fox Sports News Network. Weeknights, check local listings.
Well, back in 1906, and of course that is the all-time single season record. The Yankees are trying to eclipse set by the Cubs, who won 116 and also the highest winning percentage. And to give you an idea, that year 16 pitchers won 20 games or more. Harry Davis led the American League with 12 home runs. That led the league. Yankees had a good year that year, winning 90. That was a long time ago. Even you weren't around then, Mr. Brimley. Nor was Joe Torre.
That does seem like a long time ago.
Yankees, by the way, finished second that year. There's a drive down the left field line off the bat of Jeter, and he has given the Yankees a 1-run lead. Rodriguez, a 2-run home run for Seattle in the first inning. And we talked about that competition between shortstops. Jeter answers in the Yankee 5th.
They're battling for bragging rights. A-Rod a 2-run homer, Jeter a solo homer, so A-Rod is up by 1. Good quick swing by Derek Jeter. Not a stereotypical power hitting shortstop, just puts a good quick stroke on the ball. If he gets a pitch up and in the middle of the zone, he can ride it out of here. Not the same kind of opposite field power as Alex Rodriguez, but good pull power on the part of Derek Jeter.
Strike 1 to Paul O'Neill.
Jamie Moyer surrenders his 15th home run of the year. He knows he made a mistake right there, and Derek Jeter made him pay.
The first lead of the game for the Yankees. They fell behind 2-0, made it 2-1, tied the game on a Martinez home run an inning ago to lead off the 4th. And now a leadoff home run an inning later by Jeter. 3-2 Yankees. Trying to win their 77th game of the season and go 50 games over 500.
I mean, a lot of teams, their goal for the season is to get to 500. If we can finish at 500, we've had a successful season. The Yankees could lose their next 49 games in a row and be at 500. That's not going to happen.
There are 11 teams in baseball right now that have not won 50 games, much less 50 games above the 500 mark. O'Neill is gone on strikes. Well, right now, a Zima game break. Let's check in with our buddy Chip Carey at our Fox Network Center. Hi, Chip.
Hello, Tommy. Let's go to Atlanta. Keith Lockhart, base hit up the middle. In the bottom half of the 8th inning, unties a 1-1 game in Atlanta. The Braves go on to beat the Cardinals by a tally of 3-1. Mark McGwire went 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Back to you two in the beautiful Pacific Northwest.
Yes, indeed. Chip Carey's former home, in fact, here in Seattle. Atlanta winning its 73rd game of the year. And a lot of people very much believe that it's a collision course already set in motion. The Yankees and Braves in a rematch of that '96 World Series. There are a few other teams in both the American and National Leagues you might want to check on that with.
You know, if you could hold that shot for just a second, this is unfair. Excuse me. Look at this. That's a definite distraction to the defense. Looking at Heather Locklear.
It's a distraction to me up here. Twice. You don't get it once, you get it twice.
See right back there behind the umpire. Jamie Moyer looking right over his catcher's shoulder at Heather Locklear.
That's why he's given up home runs in the last 2 innings. They haven't changed that billboard. No, don't do that.
Huh?
Don't do that.
Going, little sideburns.
Do not do that.
Beard, huh?
That's terrible. An American man wouldn't do that.
course, you can tune into Melrose Place Mondays on
You know
Fox.
what? Forget the game. Can we go back to that shot? Just sit there for a while.
He's pondering.
Just give yourself a big deep breath. We'll all be quiet for a minute. Just use your imagination.
Okay, enough of that.
What are we doing here anyway?
I don't know.
3-2 ball game with the Yankees in front.
That may explain why Russ Davis has made 28 errors this year.
It might have something to do with it.
Got to look in that. I mean, that's right behind home plate. When he's playing third base, that's right in his line of vision. It's unfair.
1-2 to Bernie Williams. She's still there. Now, what do you think he's thinking about right now? That ground ball down to third?
Or Monday night on Fox.
I think Monday night on Fox. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Two down in the inning, 5th strikeout. Bring you up to date on what's happening in the home run chase of Roger Maris. Mark McGwire did not hit one today, still with 45. Sammy Sosa with 42 without a home run today in the Cub win. And Junior in the ball game here is 0 for 2, is grounded to second and struck out.
Now, Tom, we've had a chance to see Sammy Sosa recently down in Arizona. The Cubs came in there for a 4-game series, and you cannot say enough about the change that has come about in Sammy Sosa's game. I mean, he's hitting home runs to all fields. If you throw him a strike with any pitch, fastball, changeup, breaking ball, if you throw it in the strike zone, Sammy's hitting the ball hard every day. Last year, you could get him out throwing spinners in the dirt, throwing changeups, throwing high fastballs out of the zone. He's much more disciplined hitter, and he's got power to all fields now. Just trying to hit the ball hard somewhere. Jeff Pentland, the hitting coach for the Cubs, has done an amazing job with Sammy Sosa.
Martinez homered earlier in the game. He lifts one into right center field here. Buhner will have room, and that will end the inning. Sosa hit a pair of balls to the warning track today in Chicago. Jeter ran out of warning track room on this one. We're tied 3-2 Yankee lead.
Saturday baseball game of the week brought to you by cold refreshing Zima. Zima, a few degrees cooler. By Red Lobster, come in and see for yourself why life on land is dry at Red Lobster. By Toyota, every day belongs to you. Make it count. Toyota every day. And by MasterCard, official card of Major League Baseball and fan of the great American pastime.
Back in Seattle, we were talking about the year 1906, and just to give you an idea of some of the other things going on back then, and to put it all in perspective, that was 6 years prior to the sinking of the Titanic, 14 years before women were allowed to vote, 40 years before the computer, 44 years before color TV. Major League Baseball in Seattle had to wait 63 years for a team.
That's a long time ago. A lot of things have happened since 1906.
But these current Yankees are trying to break a record held by those 1906 Chicago Cubs, who won 116 games. The Yankees 76-27, and they lead after 4.5 here today in search of their 77th win, 3-2. David Wells allowed the 2-run home run in the first inning. He's only allowed 2 base hits since then. A single in that first, later by David Segui, and then a single to center field by Cora in the 3rd inning. He is fan 3, walked only 1, as Wells shoots for his 13th win. O'Neill near the line and right, and Marzano retired. Well, a Zima game break. Again, let's go to Chip Carey at our Fox Network Center.
All right, Tom and Bob, big news down in Anaheim where the Red Sox and Angels are battling. Mike Benjamin cracks a 2-run homer for the Red Sox. They had a 2-0 lead. It's now 4-0. Boy, that Boston team really playing great baseball. Were it not for the Yankees, who knows how good this Red Sox team would be. 4-0 is our score in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, no kidding, Chip. Boston going for its 64th win of the season. That's more than any other American League team besides these Yankees. Boston 15 games back.
Hang with them. Yeah, Boston made a nice move yesterday. I feel they picked up Orlando Merced and Greg Swindell from the Twins. Swindell, a veteran left-hander they can use in a variety of different ways. You get a look at the American League wild card race. The Red Sox with a seemingly comfortable lead over the Rangers, but the Rangers got considerably better overnight.
Wouldn't you say, Bobby, of all the teams in the major leagues, at least the contending teams, they did more to better themselves yesterday than anybody else?
Oh, without a doubt. They needed a starting pitcher. They go out and get Todd Stottlemyre, a workhorse that can eat up a lot of innings, win you a lot of ball games. They get one of the better young shortstops in the National League in Royce Clayton. And they pick up Todd Zeile finally from the Florida Marlins. It looked like Zeile was the forgotten man down there in Florida.
Martinez to the bag. Amaral retired, 2 away. Let's take a look at our BF Goodrich game summary. Talked about Alex Rodriguez, a 2-run home run in the first inning. Tino Martinez getting his 16th to tie the game in the fourth. Jeter gives New York a 1-run lead in the fifth. And not a sound from Junior. We saw that Anaheim ball club there a moment ago on our game break as Cora looks at a strike. Anaheim doing very little at all. They did acquire catcher Charlie O'Brien, but not taking anything away from O'Brien, but not exactly the kind of player you figure can help you in a neck-and-neck race win out over the long haul against the Rangers.
A lot of times obviously the physical effect of picking up some players that can do some things to help your ball club win, that's first and foremost, but the emotional damage that other teams that don't make a move, what the players feel like when they show up at the ballpark today in Anaheim and realize that, well, this is the same team we had yesterday, and the Rangers have gotten considerably better overnight.
Wells lost his hat when he threw that pitch to the plate, and he still gets it out. That's how good things are going for the Yankees this season. Rather than throwing a ball all the way back to the screen, the hat falls off the head of David Wells as he delivers the pitch. And what happens? Nothing to it. Ground ball to short, inning over. Oh, to be a Yankee.
Anne wants Amanda.
This is the exact spot that I fell in love with you.
Except for the one who wants her dead.
You can't do this.
An all-new Melrose Place, Monday at 8, 7 Central.
There's some guys trying to perfect the David Wells cap flip in the middle of a windup. Shane Monahan and Joe Oliver on that Mariners bench having a little fun with that last pitch of last inning. Looks like Sammy Sosa there.
Yeah.
Sammy impersonation.
3-2, Yankees in front. New York bats in the 6th inning against Jamie Moyer, and Tim Raines looks at a strike, 1-1.
David Wells needed that Babe Ruth cap ending that last inning.
Well, when you pay that kind of dough like he did, $35,000 for a hat, that thing better stay on your head.
Does it come with a chin strap?
Two and two now to Raines. A little dance step. I think they were imitating Bob Brimley the last time in Seattle.
That's a good way to get splinters, sliding back and forth on a dugout bench. I'll try to explain that. One on the disabled list with splinters.
Good play by Jamie Moyer. He'll handle it himself. 1 away.
Well, here's what we're talking about. David Wells goes into his windup and hits the bill of his cap and knocks it right off the back of his head. Never breaks concentration. No sign whatsoever that he even knew that he did it. And then there's his Yankee teammates having a little fun. Derek Jeter, David Cohn. And the Mariners even having a laugh about it. That's what I was talking about. Guys that have a little character. You just don't see people do that too much in the game anymore. But guys having some fun today.
Posada 2 of 2, knocked in a run with a single to left field in the 2nd inning and an infield hit in the 4th. And he pops it up on the first pitch from Moyer. playable for Marzano. 2 down. Well, we'd like to tell you tonight on Fox. Little double trouble at home. Well, don't call your mom, call the cops. It's an all-new Cops. Then see how your tips help put a child molester behind bars on America's Most Wanted. America Fights Back. Tonight on Fox, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. David Wells has thrown the cuffs on the Seattle lineup ever since a 2-run home run in the first inning by Alex Rodriguez. Chad Curtis down a strike.
Cuffs on. That's good.
The Yankees have thrown the cuffs on the entire league. Trying to go to 50 games over the 500 mark. Foul back out of play. You know, it's just amazing. Joe Torre, when you look at what he's done since taking over, he was 101 games, or 109 games, pardon me, under 500 as a manager when he joined the New York Yankees. 109 games under. In 2.5 years, he is now 8 games under 500. Since taking over as a manager, the New York Yankees in 2.5 years are 101 games over the 500 mark. Staggering. Terrific player. And boy, they love him as a manager in New York. Off the mound, Rodriguez takes care of Curtis in that sack. Mariners bat in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Ken Griffey Jr. is due up after A-Rod. 3-2 ball game. Lou Piniella and the Mariners trailing 3-2. Of course, Lou Piniella many years wore Yankee pinstripes. Came from Kansas City to the Yankees as a player in 1974. Played for the Yankees in 5 league championship series. As Rodriguez looks at a strike, a career .305 batter in the LCS. Played in 4 World Series with the Yankees and hit .319. And then, of course, he managed 86 through 88 in the Bronx and served in just about every capacity you possibly can with an organization.
Used to love to watch Lou Piniella hit.
What is he doing there? I don't like to see that. Do you?
Yeah, he's trying to bad back. Trying to stretch his back out there a little bit, I think. Telling Jesse Barfield exactly what's wrong. It hurts right there. Trying to stretch it out. Keep loose. Lou was such a good opposite field hitter. See what he did during his playing career. Almost a hit a ball game in 16 seasons. Made the All-Star team with Kansas City in '72. 4 World Series with the Yankees, including a couple of rings, which he wears every day.
And he was a Rookie of the Year with an expansion team, Kansas City, in that '69 season. Longtime teammate of Willie Randolph. Of course, Travis Lee is trying to do what Lou Piniella did. Nobody else besides Lou has been the Rookie of the Year for an expansion ball club. Travis Lee with the Arizona Diamondbacks, hoping to match Lou Piniella's mark. In the hole, long throw, forget about it. Rodriguez is aboard for the 3rd time in the game. Jeter has been on 3 times. Rodriguez has been on 3 times. Again, we welcome those of you watching John Rooney, Jeff Torborg called Boston, Anaheim. We're at the Kingdome in Seattle. Tom Brenneman alongside Bob Brentley, where we continue to bring you each and every bat. Every time Mark McGwire as Sammy Sosa steps in there, and the same holds true for Ken Griffey Jr. 0 for 2 in the game today. Mariners trail 3-2. A leadoff single by Alex Rodriguez to open the 6th inning. Jr. is grounded to second, and Wells struck him out. Back into 3rd. Well, if you didn't hear the news earlier today, Mark McGwire did not homer in a 3-1 St. Louis loss against the Braves. He has 45. Sosa with 42 did not homer for the Cubs in a 3-2 win over Colorado. So Junior a chance to gain ground.
Sosa hit a couple balls to the warning track in that game, but wasn't able to get one out. Junior with a home run cut at that fastball from David Wells.
And all three chasing Roger Maris's record of 61 home runs in a season. They are 3 of only 8 players in Major League history to have hit 40 or more home runs through the final day of July, including Maris, who had 40 on the nose in that 61 campaign. A ball, a strike.
A lot of flash bulbs going off here every time the pitch is delivered to Junior. Fans hoping to catch a picture of their hero launching one into orbit. Might be somewhat of a distraction if you're up there hitting.
One and one to Junior. Fooled by the off-speed pitch from Wells.
I mentioned Wells throws a couple of different breaking balls, a little sharp, hard breaking slider, and then that bigger, slower overhand curve. That's been the pitch that he's been able to get Junior well out in front of, chasing pitches out of the zone.
But Junior in his career against Wells has hit 6 home runs. Well, he's had a lot of success against the Yankee left-hander, but not today. There you see the numbers career-wise. That includes an 0 for 2 today. Will this be a snapshot of number 42? We'll find out in a moment. Alex Rodriguez a big lead at first. And the 1-2. Breaking ball away.
Wells with a little different look that time, dropped down. Normally he's a high 3/4 pitcher. His delivery is up above that left shoulder. That time he dropped down almost sidearm, tried to get a little more break on that breaking ball, maybe get Junior to give a little bit at home plate, but he missed with the pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Junior with 41 home runs on the season. And Wells again will send Rodriguez, who is already a 30-30 club member this year, back to first base.
Got a couple of guys in the middle of the lineup. Got to be very comfortable if you're Lou Piniella penciling those 2 guys in. 74 combined home runs.
Quick visit to the mound by Posada, and now Wells set to get back at it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mariners trail with a man aboard, nobody out in the 6th inning, 3-2. And here it comes. Fastball in, so the count has gone full.
Well, A-Rod at first base, more than likely on the move here. Stayed at first base throughout Junior's at bat to give him that hole on the right side of the infield. Now with the 3-2 count, more than likely will be on the go.
Wells a big deep breath. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Smoked, and what a pickup by Martinez. That'll be a double play. That ball hammered down the line. But Tino Martinez, coming off the bag after holding on Rodriguez, walked right into one.
Boy, a tomahawk swing from Junior, got a pitch up high, and Tino Martinez just sticks his glove out there. You can see he was preparing to make the throw to second base to put a tag on Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod, he's not sure what to do right there. He didn't know whether Tino caught that ball in the air or not. He's hung out to dry. One of the easier double plays. Hit the ball right to the first baseman, let him tag the guy that's there, step on the bag, see you later. I don't know how I didn't know where that ball went off the bat. Junior swung at that high pitch, was up around his shoulders, and tomahawked that ball. Hard to hit that pitch on the ground.
Yeah. So Junior bounces into the double play at Martinez. 2 down in the inning, nobody on. And it's still a 1-run Yankee lead in the last of the 6th. Oh, and 2 to Edgar Martinez. Wells kicks and delivers in a fastball inside. A ball and 2 strikes.
You may have noticed that time before Posada gave a sign to David Wells. He shook his head twice. That's an indication that he wants his pitcher to shake his head no, as if he's shaking off signals. This gives something for Edgar Martinez to think about up there at the plate.
Fly ball center field. Routine for Bernie Williams. And that's that. We played 6. Yankees in front 3-2. You're watching Fox Sports, home of the 1998 World Series. And we'll return to Seattle after this word from your local Fox station.
Game 2. The Giants and Phillies today at 4 on Fox 2.
Jamie Moyer takes a ball in the 7th inning, trailing the Yankees 3-2. It'll be Brocious, Knobloch, and Jeter. And it's ball 1 to Brocious, who has bounced to short and struck out. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors, 5 left for the Yankees. Seattle 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and they have stranded 2. Brocious up the third base line, but foul on the butt.
I saw Mickey Mantle one time. Same type of play. He was the runner at first, slid back into first base. He was safe.
Well, it worked for Mickey Mantle, but not for Alex Rodriguez. On that play, the first baseman is so intent on, first of all, picking up the ball, in the second place, getting to the bag quickly, and then making that throw to second base, because he assumed that Alex Rodriguez was on his way to second. And you could see how a crafty runner, get down and slide underneath. But Alex Rodriguez found himself out there in no man's land, no chance to get back.
That could turn out to be a huge play in this ball game. If that ball gets by Martinez, it's down in the corner, and Rodriguez at the very minimum winds up at third. He might score. Watch out. That bat goes flying into the stands, and hopefully everybody's okay down there. Well, little boy right in that territory. Hopefully, Lord knows, hopefully he's all right.
Well, hopefully everybody's okay. That goes without saying. It looked like it may have ricocheted off a chair before striking the young man, and they're going to take him out and make sure he's okay.
Just scared, it looks like, more than anything else, and thank goodness for that. Brocious gone on strikes. 6th of the game by Jamie Moyer.
There's been an alarming number of situations just like that. Bats flying in stands in the dugouts this year. I think it's due to the fact that so many more pitchers have gone to the straight changeup as an out pitch, more so than breaking balls. You get fooled on that changeup, your mind tells you react to fastball. You start your swing, you see that that pitch is not going to be in the zone when your bat's there. Hitters try to extend their swing, really get their arms out there, try to almost make that bat get a little bit longer to get a piece of that ball, and that's usually when it comes flying out of the hands.
Jam shot, pop fly. This may fall in for a hit. Rodriguez able to run it down. Well, Rodriguez has done it all here today. A 2-run home run, a single, a walk, and now a very nice play up the left field line.
And Alex Rodriguez had a long way to go. He was pinching up the middle a little bit on Chuck Knobloch, trying to take that hole up the middle away, and had a long way to run Well, he covers so much ground. That ball didn't seem like it was going to hang in the air that long.
Well, Seattle hoping they can do what they did in '95 when they rallied, of course, that year on August the 1st, 11 games behind Anaheim. They recaptured the American League West title after a one-game playoff, and then many Yankee fans remember that play on the base hit by Martinez. It scored Junior, and off for the Mariners they went to the League Championship Series, only to lose to Cleveland. But that was a miracle finish year. Rodriguez only spent a little bit of time that season with Seattle. They were 11.5 back as late as August the 16th. So, I mean, there's always a chance. Then they went on in 1997 to win the division again. And when the season started, everybody was talking in Seattle about a trip to the World Series. Oh, with everything that Rodriguez has done today, you can't forget about Jeter. I mean, he has matched him all day long. Rodriguez a home run, Jeter a home run. Rodriguez a single, Jeter a single. Rodriguez a walk, Jeter a walk.
So in that contest for bragging rights, Rodriguez still has a slight edge because his home run was a two-run shot.
Yeah, but the guy on the right's winning.
Well, that's bottom line. But I'm talking about bragging rights.
I got you. Well, now I got a question for you here based on that with this pitch. 2-2 on the way. Grounded. Well, Rodriguez going to make sure he doesn't better him with another hit. So that'll retire the side. Middle of the 7th, still a 3-2 Yankee lead.
In a course of 162 games, I think you need to solidify your defense because that's what wins ball games. Home runs, RBIs are all great. Clutch hitting is huge, but defense and the steadiness of an everyday shortstop is very, very important to a ball club.
Well, certainly Alex Rodriguez, a fine play down the left field line in this 7th inning. His team trails, however, Jeter and the Yanks 3-2. Segui, Buhner, and Davis due up against David Wells. Another outstanding effort from the Yankee left-hander. His 20th start of the year. He is searching for his 13th win. He has allowed only 5 hits, and 3 of them came in the first inning. He's only given up 2 runs, and both of those were in the first inning. Boy, this Yankee front line starting pitching has been brilliant from start to the current. Rabu, a strong effort in the series opener last night. We've talked a little bit about Andy Pettitte, David Cone with 15 wins, and Oscar Hernandez at 5-3 with a 3.6 ERA. You can't go wrong.
Nice balance, righty lefty. Wells and Pettitte, 2 left-handers. Cone, Arabu, and Hernandez, all right-handers.
Armless roller at Knobloch. One away as this throw is on the money. Let's take a look at our Toyota game summary. The long ball prevalent today in the game. 2 for New York. 1 off the bat of Alex Rodriguez of the Mariners. Junior has been silenced by Wells. Speaking of Wells, terrific since the opening inning.
Yeah, he's really mixed his pitches well. He's used his fastball on both sides of the plate. He's been able to stand up the Mariners hitters with fastballs on the inside part of the plate. He's thrown his breaking ball at a variety of different speeds. Slower ones to Junior, harder ones to the other Mariners hitters.
Strike 1 to Jay Buhner, who has singled, or pardon me, has struck out and bounced to third. One and one. On the inside corner, and there's a strike. We'll be bringing you up to date on that Anaheim-Boston contest taking on in Anaheim today. And a 1-2 to Buhner. Brocious backs up at third base. Plenty of time. 2 up, 2 down. Well, let's do just that right now to our Fox Network Center. A Zima game break, and here's Chip Caray.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's head on out west to Oakland, where Sandy Alomar Jr. just hit a 3-run homer for the Indians. He challenged his mates to turn it up as they started this long western road trip for the Tribe, and he has done just that. The Indians playing very well and now leading Oakland 4-3. Back to you in Seattle.
Go to Fort Myers for 1999.
Well, happy, so pleased. Not only that their team won last night here in Seattle, as that one is hit foul by Davis, but that the Cleveland Indians, the team that knocked the Yankees out of the postseason last year, did not acquire Randy Johnson. Cleveland, in fact, did not pull off a blockbuster trade of any kind.
Well, Cleveland in a similar situation to the Yankees, obviously not the same kind of record, but they feel that they're ready to compete in the postseason with the roster they have in place right now.
Get a look at the American League Central Division standings. Cleveland in command by and large from the get-go. The Yankees and Tribe have played 7 times this year, and the Yankees have won 4 of the 7. So Cleveland has certainly held its own, Randy Johnson or no Randy Johnson. Seattle was always a team in past years that had dominated the Yankees, knocking them out of the 95 playoffs. And that was a team that the last couple of years you always heard the Yankee people kind of, whisper that we don't want to take on the Mariners. They seem to have our number in the postseason and during the regular season. This year you hear a little bit of that from some of the Yankee people about Cleveland. Into right center field, hit pretty well by Davis, and it's off the wall. Williams plays it with a bare hand, but not before Davis is in with a 2-out double.
Now, Bernie Williams had a long way to go to catch up to that gapper in right center field. He was shaded a little bit over into the gap in left center on Russ Davis. Ball hit crisply off the wall in right center. Just too much territory to cover out there, even for somebody like Bernie Williams, who covers a lot of ground in center field. Ball hit about halfway up the wall in right center. Nice play to get it back in quickly, but no play on Davis at second base.
So now John Marzano with 2 away and a tying run at second here in the 7th inning. Breaking ball in there, a strike. See, Marzano only 8 runs batted in all season long. Very little playing time, but has to now with the injury to Dan Wilson. And the 0-1 from Wells. Another off-speed pitch, and this time a swing and a miss, 0-2.
Well, against David Wells, when he gets ahead in the count, it's pretty much over. Teams have had some success on the first pitch that he delivers to a batter. They've hit .354 this year against him, but after he gets ahead with that first strike, that drops down to .216, and if he gets ahead 0-2, the batting average drops down to .170.
Wells trying to pitch through this 7th inning with a tying run at second base and 2 down, and here comes the 0-2. In the air, shallow right field. O'Neill is there. Inning over. 1 hit, 1 left. We go to the 8th. Still the Yankees in front, 3-2.
Dave.
Jamie Moyer takes the mound here in the 8th inning. His team trailing 3-2. It'll be the heart of the New York order. And O'Neill drives one to right. That'll airmail Buhner in right, who plays it off the wall. And O'Neill with a single to begin the 8th inning. We asked Jamie Moyer about having to face this New York Yankee team. Here's what he told us.
The Yankees are a very good ball club. You know, they swing the bats, they can run the bases, they take the extra base, they can steal, they can hit and run. Offensively, they can pretty much do whatever they want, and they have a good bit of power. You know, whether you say, well, you know, they don't have a lot of power, I think they do. I give them that respect. They do.
Well, certainly respect deserved today. The Yankees have hit 2 home runs in the game. Tino Martinez leading off the 4th. Derek Jeter to break a 2-2 tie in the 5th. As Bernie Williams looks at ball 1. Greg McCarthy, a left-hander, begins to get loose in a Seattle bullpen. We talked a lot about David Wells. Jamie Moyer has pitched a very good game. He has allowed 9 hits, but only 3 runs. And that one down the line into the corner. O'Neill on his way to 3rd, trying to retrieve his Amaral. They're going to wave O'Neill around. He will score. And Bernie Williams with a double gives the Yankees a 4-2 lead. It looked like Amaral had some problems down in the left field corner.
Well, there must be some kind of a black hole out there in left field here at the Kingdome. Mariners have tried 60 different players beside Ken Griffey Jr. out there in left field, and nobody has been able to get the job done on any kind of consistent basis. Rich Amaral plays this ball down in the corner. At that point, it appeared he was in pretty good shape, but just doesn't come up with the ball. Has to regroup, go after it a second time, and you can see Paul O'Neill chugging home from 3rd base without a throw.
No error charged to Amaral on the play. It's a double and an RBI for Bernie Williams as Tino Martinez looks at a strike.
One of the few mistakes by Moyer in this game. Got a change up and over the plate to Bernie Williams. He was able to keep it fair down at 3rd baseline.
1-1 as a breaking ball misses away. Williams, his 54th run batted in on his 20th 2-base hit, piling up big numbers despite a trip to the disabled list. 1-2 now to Tino Martinez. Joe Torre, you see, kind enough to wear a microphone for us at Fox Sports here today, and we'll let you hear his reaction to the ball hit by Bernie Williams for an RBI double down the left field line just a moment ago. One-two pitch on the outside corner, strike 3. Well, let's listen in to Joe Torre and our Fox sounds of the game.
That's it, Bernie. That's it, Bernie. That's what we do. Scoop by him. That's it. He couldn't pick it up.
That's good managing. Scoot by him. He couldn't pick it up. Hey, good managing. That's the way we do things. You heard him say that to Bernie Williams. That's the way we do things. That's what the Yankees have been doing all year. Taking advantage of opportunities, not relying on the long ball in the big inning, taking your offensive opportunities as they come in the ball game.
Well, you saw that shot there. Joe Torre just leaning back in the New York Yankee dugout. Now, does he look like a man about to go 50 games over 500 to you?
Well, he thinks so. Well, Joe Torre's pretty much the same guy, win, lose, or draw. You know, doesn't really show a lot of emotion. That's about as much as you'll see from Joe Torre. A little bit of cheerleading he did on Bernie Williams' double down the left field line.
Well, he sure does laugh a lot, though, sitting down there next to Don Zimmer. Well, you talk about one of the great characters in all of baseball. That's how you normally see Don Zimmer. A smile on his face, his 50th consecutive year wearing a major league uniform. Amazing.
Can't find a real job.
No, and he'll tell you that.
I'll tell you, we're so very fortunate in this job to be able to sit down in the dugout or in the clubhouse and listen to some of the stories that these great baseball men have to tell. You heard Joe Torre just relaying a very quick story about Mickey Mantle, the similar play that we had in this game. I saw Mickey Mantle slide back in on a play like that.
There's a fair ball down the left field line again into the corner. Bernie Williams racing home. Reigns in with a double. And the Yankees now lead 5-2.
Jamie Moyer starting to show some signs of fatigue here, getting more pitches up over the heart of the plate. Other than the home run balls, he'd been hitting his spots very well, staying out of the middle of the strike zone, working the corners, but seems to be losing it.
Well, he'll pitch on another day. They'll bring in Bobby Ayala from the bullpen, trailing 5-2. Jamie Moyer leaves the game, and talk about a classy move after 117 pitches in a double. Read the lips. He looks at home plate umpire Tim Welke, says right there, nice job.
Well, partly because Welke was giving Moyer some of that inside corner on the fastball, stood up some of the Yankees hitters. But it would have been very easy after surrendering 11 base hits and leaving the ball game down by 3 runs with a runner on base to throw some darts at that home plate umpire, but Jamie Moyer's way too classy for that.
Bobby Ayala, meanwhile, now on the pitch. 5-2 Yankees lead. And Posada looks at a strike. See the numbers. A rough season for Ayala.
Although he's been much better lately, his last 5 appearances spanning 9 innings, he struck out 10 batters, allowed only 1 run on 5 hits.
Reigns at second base. And there's strike 2.
Ayala gets to 2 strikes and then goes to that fork ball down low in the strike zone, trying to get the swinging strike. That ball's put in play. It's going to be a ground ball somewhere in the infield.
Lou Piniella actually watched as his bullpen pitched very well in the month of July. I mean, they've been raked over the coals for the better part of 2 years. But during the month of July, the bullpen had an ERA of 2.2. They had trouble scoring runs, was a problem in July, believe it or not.
That is hard to believe for this Mariners offensive ball club, leading the American League in home runs.
In the air to right center field. Buhner over, and he'll make the play. Reigns tags and advances on to third. 2 away. We'd like to invite you to join us a week from today for Fox Saturday Major League Baseball. Some of you will see the Cubs and Sammy Sosa against Mark McGwire and the Cardinals. And for those of you out west, the Mets in Colorado, Bobby, you and I will be in San Francisco for the Braves and the Giants. The Giants very much in the heart of the wild card race going into play today. San Francisco 3.5 back. That's been pushed to 4 behind with a Cub 3-2 win over Colorado at Wrigley Field today. Fouled away by Curtis. 1-1. Hey, here in a minute, we're going to bring you some audio and video. The first comments made by Randy Johnson. Our crew able to catch up with him at the airport and hear his comments the next half inning about leaving Seattle and joining the Astros. So you won't want to miss that. Chip Carey will bring that your way the next half inning. Johnson went racing out of here last night after Lou Piniella notified Johnson in the dugout. We showed you some of that earlier, that Johnson had been traded. And Johnson had no comment whatsoever. He didn't even look at anybody walking out of here last night. Rounded down to third. Davis a backhand. Good throw, and that'll end the inning. Well, the Yankees tack on 2 big runs, 3 hits, and David Wells goes to the mound in the 8th, leading 5-2.
Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, brought to you by AT&T. It's all within your reach. By the U.S. Navy. Navy, let the journey begin. By Napa Auto Parts, we keep America running. And by Pepsi, official soft drink of Major League Baseball.
Of course, a big story here in the Emerald City last night at the trading deadline hour of 9 o'clock. Randy Johnson dealt to Houston, and he did not talk to anyone leaving the Kingdome last night. No comment whatsoever about the trade for 3 minor leaguers. But again, here at Fox Sports, we caught up with Randy Johnson at the airport, going to join his new team, the Astros. And after Amaral bats here in the 8th inning, we'll let Chip Carey bring you up to date and give you those comments made by the big unit, where they say everything is big in Texas. And certainly Randy Johnson will fit in as part of the landscape there. You see the headlines in the paper. Is this the best the M's could do?
That's been the general sentiment throughout the Pacific Northwest. All the headlines in the papers, the radio call-in shows. Fans here at the ballpark today just stunned at the fact the Mariners did not get immediate help at the major league level, trading away their ace pitcher.
1-1. 2-1 to Amaral. And Lou Piniella made a note today in our visit with him that was the best trade on the table at the time. And he said that in his estimation, they were getting the second best pitching prospect Houston had to offer and the best infield player in the Astros system that they had available. Wells trying to barehand the ball, and that's going to go as an infield hit for Amaral. I'll get right back to the ball game, but let's check in again for those Randy Johnson comments, our Zima game break, and Chip Carey.
Tom and Bob, thanks a lot. Randy Johnson on the way to Pittsburgh to pitch for the Houston Astros. These were his comments upon his trade to the Astros.
Fans have a lot of memories that I've left here. I have a lot of memories here with my teammates, Jay Buhner Jr. and Edgar and myself are the 4 people that have been in this franchise in the very lean years, and we've all went to battle all together in 95 and 97, and there's a lot of memories. I spoke to my teammates as they came in, addressed and told them what happened, and said my goodbyes and wished them all well. And I'm just very fortunate that I had 9 great years here. Had an opportunity to meet my wife and have my 3 children born here. And like I said, there's just some wonderful fans here. They've been very supportive over the 9 years. And I would have taught a lot of them yesterday, but I just felt under the circumstance, I just kind of wanted to get out of the environment and find out, and sit down and kind of unwind over the day. It was a very stressful day, but for the most part, I just want to thank the fans very much for being so supportive of my effort, and hopefully I've given them a lot of memories to them. And I wish the team and my teammates a successful season this year. It's not over by any means, and I know what makes that team tick, and there's a lot of guys in there that want to win, and that they're determined to win, so hopefully that will happen this year for them.
So Randy Johnson wishing his team well. They trail 5-2 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. But all of a sudden trying to get back in, and Amaral an infield hit, Cora a single to right, his 3rd hit of the game, and here come the boppers. Rodriguez and then Junior on deck. And Rodriguez quickly down a strike. The Yankee bullpen springs to life for the first time in the game. The left-hander Graham Lloyd and the right-hander, the closer Mariano Rivera. The right-hander down there, pardon me, is Ramiro Mendoza. They generally save Mariano Rivera for the night. 2 on, nobody out. Rodriguez perfect on the day. A 2-run home run, a walk, and a single in the 6th inning. Yankees got 2 here in the top half of the 8th to turn a 1-run lead into a 3-run advantage. And the 0-1 to Rodriguez. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Junior waits.
Power against power right there. David Wells with a good fastball right in the heart of the plate. Blew it by Alex Rodriguez. Now Rodriguez will be a little more defensive up there at the plate with 2 strikes. Be more apt to hit the ball to the opposite field. See how Wells goes after him.
Oh, and 2, and they set up inside, and it swung on and fouled back into the seats. Well, how would you go after him now at 0-2?
I think Alex Rodriguez is a very good low ball hitter if the pitch is in the strike zone. He'll chase bad pitches low out of the zone. But I think with David Wells' assortment of stuff, he'd be better off either throwing a fastball up and in or bouncing a breaking ball down low and away. That big slow breaking ball that he's been using on Ken Griffey Jr. throughout this ball game.
0-2 with 2 on and nobody out. Rodriguez waits. Got him swinging on the breaking ball. Wells, his 4th strikeout. And here comes Junior. Junior grounded to second in the 1st inning, struck out swinging in the 3rd. He hit a bullet that looked like it was headed for the right field corner in the 6th inning with Rodriguez at first. But Martinez, holding the runner on, scooped up the one-hopper and turned it into a double play. And Wells a pause in the pitch. Grounded weakly to the right side. Knobloch will underhand toss over to Martinez. So Wells has owned Griffey in 4 trips today. 2 down in the inning.
And throughout this ball game, the Mariners hitters have tried to attack David Wells on that first pitch. I mentioned the numbers. That's when the league has had the most success against David Wells, attacking the first pitch. Gets Junior to chase a fastball down low in the strike zone, hit the easy grounder to the right side.
So here's Edgar Martinez. He is bounced to 3rd, grounded to short, and fly to center. Wells will now work out of his regular windup. He has a 5-2 lead in the 8th. And there's a fastball strike. Boy, Wells is so tough in situations with a game on the line. He had a 3-run lead, maybe a little lapse in concentration. Amaral a hit, then Cora a hit, but with the big guys coming up, he has struck out Rodriguez and got Junior on a ground ball to second. And now quickly ahead of Martinez at 0-2.
Edgar's the Mariners' leading hitter with runners in scoring position. However, David Wells does not give up a lot of hits with runners in scoring position. Coming into the game today, 0 for 19. 0 for their last 19 opponents were with runners in scoring position.
In the air, is this playable? It looks to be, and the inning is over. David Wells pumps his fist as that ball went into the mid of Martinez. We go to the 9th. Yankees lead 5-2. Well, certainly a season lost at sea for the Mariners. 6 times they've blown leads after the 8th inning. Some of those other numbers we'll show you again. the fewest come from behind wins in baseball, and in one-run games, only 4 wins in 22 affairs. And the 2 main culprits look no further. And you ask Lou Piniella, and he'll just tell you he's never seen anything like it in all his years of baseball. 1, the defense, and 2, the bullpen.
Yeah, Lou has gone on at length that he has never seen a worse defensive ball club than the 1998 Seattle Mariners. Every day you think you've seen everything, you come back and they do something the next day that just defies defensive logic.
One-two pitch, and a foul tip into the mitt of Marzano. Strikeout for Bobby Ayala, his first. Well, we were talking about defense. We're only going to show you the good on our Red Lobster catch of the day.
Tino Martinez fielding the screamer, steps on the bag, gets ready to throw to second, realizes he doesn't need to waste a throw because Alex Rodriguez is right there. Had A-Rod started back to the bag 1 step sooner, he might have been able to slide in underneath the tag of Tino Martinez, but we'll never know.
Another quiet game for Chuck Knobloch as you get a look at David Wells. 8 strong innings, and he looks like he's ready to go back out there in the ninth. And who knows, Joe Torre may elect to do just that, although he has his closer now warming up. Earlier it was Mendoza and Lloyd, the setup men, and now the closer Mariano Rivera. Three and 0 to Knobloch. You know, you come in and you have a chance, as we do, Bobby, to talk to the players and the coaches and Joe Torre, the manager. Our first look in person at the Yankees this season. You know, the first question you logically ask is, are you guys really this good? Well, you ask them over and over again, and they say, hey, yeah, the regular season is terrific, but if we don't bring that World Series trophy back to New York when all is said and done, as they did in 1996, what does it all mean? Absolutely nothing. In fact, to put everything in perspective, teams that have won 105 or more games, you see 6 times that team lost in the World Series. And the one everybody remembers in modern times, I guess you will, that 54 Indians team.
Lost to the Giants in the World Series. The Yankees are on pace to win 120 ball games if they continue winning the way they have been. But you're absolutely right. That's all window dressing if you don't get to bring home the big iron at the end of the season. Yeah, especially since the Yankees did win the series a couple of years ago. Yankee fans are expecting that trophy to stay in the Bronx for a long time.
Oh, 1 pitch. Broken bat goes flying onto the field of play, thank goodness, and nobody hurt in the stands. And well, Derek Jeter, it's all he has left of that bat. And there were a lot of hits in that bat.
He fought this pitch off. Fastball that's running back inside. Boy, that is about as badly as you can get jammed. Jeter unable to get any kind of extension. He's left with that tent peg. It's all that little piece of a handle is good for now. Take it camping and tie off your tent ropes on it.
Sounds good to me. You can do that right here in the Pacific Northwest. Go over to Mount Rainier for a couple of days.
They have an insulated tent. There's still snow on that mountain.
Always snow on that mountain. One and 2 to Jeter.
Now, the funny thing is, one of the bat boys over there on the visitor side will probably take that little nub of a handle home with them and say, this is Derek Jeter's bat. Of course, there's no way to prove that.
Jeter gone on strikes, and that'll end the inning. We head for the bottom of the 9th. Yankees lead 5-2. David Wells takes him out in the 9th inning, and Joe Torre will indeed give him a chance to finish this game. Wells in his 20th start, going for his 3rd complete game of the season. Mariano Rivera is down there ready to go just in case.
Well, the Yankees want to keep David Segui on the right side of the plate, where he's not the same kind of power hitter that he is from the left side. Should Segui reach base, we may see Joe Torre go to the man out of the bullpen.
High fly ball, pretty well hit left center field. Bernie Williams has room. 1 pitch, 1 out. Our game today produced by Michael Weissman, directed by Jim Lynch, the senior coordinating producer, Major League Baseball on Fox, John Filippelli. The pregame coordinating producer, Scott Ackerson. The pregame show produced by Gary Lang, directed by Bob Levy. The associate director, Jennifer Love. And the senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. The executive producers, David Hill and Ed Gorin. Well, the New York Yankees, 2 outs away from going to 50 games over 500. On their 77th win of the year, this should be the 2nd out. Jeter backpedals and calls off all comers. 2 pitches, 2 outs here in the Mariner ninth.
It's so tough to come back against David Wells when he has a lead in a ball game. He so rarely walks anybody. He's not going to allow you to have a big inning unless your bats do it offensively. He's not going to put runners on base, get himself in a jam. He's going to force you to hit the ball, put it in play. And the Mariners haven't had a lot of success doing that today.
Russ Davis, 1 of 3 in the game. High fly ball into left field. Curtis is there, and that is that. And Bobby, can anybody slow down this juggernaut?
I don't think so. I'll tell you, you get a feeling being around a ball club that they have that ultimate confidence that every day they take the field they expect to win, and nothing has happened this year to the Yankees to make them believe otherwise. 50 games over 500.
And when you look at the team, you feel that will challenge them when all is said and done the most in the American League.
Well, we have to go back to the Cleveland Indians, another very strong team that stood pat at the trading deadline because they felt they were ready for the postseason. I'll tell you, the playoffs this year shape up to be very exciting.
Well, the New York Yankees trying to become the all-time winningest team during the regular season in baseball history, chasing the 1908 Chicago Cubs, who won 116. The Yankees get their 77th win on this, the 1st of August. So for Bob Brenly, I'm Tom Brenneman. Thanks so much for joining us today. Our final Yankees 5, Seattle 2. Again, a reminder, Chip Carey and Steve Lyons will be along with scores right after these messages. You're watching Fox Sports. The home of the '98 World Series is the trophy headed back to the Bronx come October.
Now, Peter Piper.
My ball. No doubt about it. Sure, I didn't throw it to them. People get on me and say, oh, Michael, you push you. And it always killed me. I said, well, go look at my contract and read my job description. It says do whatever it takes to catch that football. And that's what I got to do. Troy never threw them the ball. He always throws it to me.
All right, Chip Carey, Steve Psycho Lyons back in Los Angeles. Let's check out the scores from earlier today. You just saw the Yankees beat the Mariners 5-2. They're 0-1 without Randy Johnson.
0-1 since the trade and counting.
I knew that was coming, my friend. Red Sox and the Angels battling down 8 Anaheim. Red Sox having a great game. 8-3 is your score there in the 9th inning. Buford, Benjamin, and O'Leary all homered for the Boston Red Sox. Tight game down in Atlanta. Braves beat the Cardinals 3-1. No homers for Mark McGwire.
Well, they're pitching him so tough, living on that outside corner as they always do, and Mark couldn't make the adjustment.